What's up, YouTube? DJ Kryptonite here, just talking boxing, combat sports, and all that jazz. Anyway, let's get right to it. I just want to get right to the highlight of the weekend, which was Jermell Charlo defeating Brian Castano, making him undisputed super welterweight champion of the world, first of its kind in the four belt era. So he has all four belts by taking the WBO from Brian Castano in emphatic fashion. He actually knocked him out with a fairly short but efficient uh, left hook type, uppercut type shot. But it was in very close quarters. It was very hard to see initially in the live during the live broadcast, but when we looked at the replay, it was a short, strong, calculated shot. It was a very good shot, and I hate to say as I predicted, but I predicted a stoppage, late stoppage, because I just figured that Brian Castano, when you're chasing somebody around and somebody is tapping you as you're trying to chase them down, you're exerting a lot of energy and you're taking a lot of punishment, and eventually you wear down if you don't actually catch up with the guy. He did a great job of cutting off the ring, but Charlo's power and his elusiveness kind of kept Brian Castano at bay long enough where Castano started to break down, and eventually Charlo caught up with him, which I figured that was going to happen. I think I called either eighth or ninth round, but I think it occurred in the 10th, so I was a little off by a couple of rounds, but it's fine. It is what it is. Like I said, I just want to give Charlo all the kudos and accolades he deserves. I know he's a pretty defensive, sensitive guy when it comes to criticism, and some of the criticism is deserved. But everybody, personalities are different. So, but as a boxer, he's showed greatness. So he has one blemish on his record. I think it was against Tony Harrison, but that blemish was avenged, and he actually came back and knocked Tony Harrison out, much like he did Brian Castano, because this was a rematch. So I just like to get into the fact that Jermell Charlo is a monster, really, when you consider his competition. He's fought the likes of Erickson Lubin, Austin Trout, Tony Harrison, Brian Castano, Jason Rosario. You forgot about Jason Rosario, and Rosario was considered a very big test. I think he was undefeated when he ran into Jermell Charlo, much like Tony Harrison was undefeated when he ran into Jermell Charlo. I don't think Austin Trout was, but he was considered a top five super welterweight at the time, or top five 154. So Jermell Charlo has an extremely stellar record considering his competition. Like his competition was extraordinary. Because the 154 class is very competitive. It's a very competitive division, and he's gone through it pretty much with just one blemish, and that was a controversial blemish. And like I said, he avenged that loss, but he's done great things in that weight class. So hats off. Again, great weekend of fighting. Jermell Charlo showed that he is the man at 154, and then we'll see what's in store for him. He mentioned something along the lines of moving up to 160. I think his brother has some sort of he has a decision to make too, either to stay at 160 or move up to look for bigger fights at 168. So I'm sure if Jermell moves up to 160, Jamal will probably move up to 168 and look for bigger fish there, which would probably be more lucrative for him pay-wise, because he's at 160. He's not getting the competition, and he's probably not making the paydays that he could get at 168. There's just much more competition at 168, and those fights are there waiting for him. So if Jermell decides to move up to 160, which you never know, because I know Errol Spence is kind of hinting at moving up to 154. If he decides to move up to 154, I'm sure Jermell will move to 160 and Jamal will move up to 168. And that's probably going to occur probably within the next year to 18 months. So we'll see how that goes. It'll be a shuffle in I guess, the talent within the divisions, which is always great for boxing. It just mixes it up a little bit. But anyway, like, subscribe, comment, and have a great Monday. DJ Kryptonite out. Deuces.